What you're looking at here might be the first glimpse of what guns are going to look like, animations and gameplay mechanics in the new Battlefield game. A couple days ago, EA announced the new game. It's going to be modern in a huge interview with Vince Zampella from Respawn. However, yesterday, EA had something called an Investors Day. And this was a 3-hour presentation. And in that presentation, the new Battlefield game was mentioned several times. They showed 2 new pieces of concept art, this footage here, which we'll get into in a second. And there was a load more details about the game and when we're going to potentially be able to play it. And this was really surprising. I did not expect it to be so soon. The context of the video you're seeing here is that hypothetically, a user has generated a level using a new EA tool and they're running around on it playing a 1v1 deathmatch against a friend. To demonstrate, they showed this, and I think this is running on the Frostbite engine, and these are assets and animations from the new Battlefield. EA don't have any other modern military FPS games. These aren't models that are in BF 2042 as far as I know. So why would they bother building this all from scratch when they can just take it from the new game that they're building? And if you look at the weapons themselves, we've got an M4 with some delineation there, maybe an M4A1, and what looks like an 870 shotgun. Incredibly highly detailed models. I love the scuffs and scratches on them, and this seems to fit with the gritty BF3 BF4 vibe that Battlefield announced a couple days ago. We see a grenade being thrown to at some point, a little bit of destruction, but something to note about the animations here. I don't know if anyone's picked up on this, and it might just be that it's not in this particular instance of the game that they were playing here, but when the characters are sprinting, they're not tactical sprinting. Tactical sprinting, that's in 2042. It's a faster sprint where you put your gun up and you run really quick. They're not doing that here. That says to me that this could be a gameplay choice because, as I mentioned, they're trying to go back to that BF3, BF4 feel. A bit slower paced, a bit heavier and weightier. It makes me think about Portal 2. Are they going to integrate this kind of technology into Portal where if you want to, there's an option that you can just describe something and it will take its best shot at building it and then you can add to it, tweak it, whatever. So that's the first new thing that we saw. The second thing, 2 pieces of concept art, and we're going to look at these now. This is the first one. I got this from the EA Investors Call website. The whole presentation's on there and you can download the individual JPEGs and PNGs and video files, whatever. It's all on there. And immediately I'm looking at this thinking, okay, it's giving me Black Hawk Down vibes. It's giving me Strike at Karkand, maybe a bit of Gulf of Oman. Got a soldier here with a weapon, helicopter landing, soldier underneath, smoke plumes, some kind of sandbag reinforced window here with lots of destruction. Love seeing that. Could just be set dressing, but maybe there's some kind of build back mechanic in the game. You know how we had fortifications in BF5? If something's destroyed, perhaps you can add a bit of cover to it like sandbags. The helicopter here, I think it's a UH-60. It kind of looks weird though. I don't know, are these like landing supports or something? They might have some copyright issues and they can't make it look exactly the same, but from the front it kind of looks like a UH-60, just a bit weird. But as Vince was talking about when he did that interview with IGN, this looks like a dense urban environment, which he mentioned several times. And I think a lot of people want this kind of Battlefield game back with this type of map design. So this is definitely leaning in the right direction, in my opinion. This was the second one that they showed that we've not seen before. Just big picture. We've got some tanks. We've got some jets here. So jets confirmed perhaps for the next game. Some more tanks in the field here going across the open land. Big urban environment over here. And what looks like missiles being fired into the sky. I'm not sure what this was. It kind of looks like MLRS. You know, the thing that the missiles come out of, but it's at a weird angle. So maybe it's just a bit of wreckage or the remainder of a house or truck or something. I'm not sure. But it could be artillery. But based on what they were saying about the multiplayer maps being smaller and more dense, I would assume that this is from campaign. Because this area here, this massive open plain, that's not good for a Battlefield map, is it? That's terrible. Do you recall BF3 as well? It had a level called Thunder Run, where you played as Captain Miller. And you had the dinosaur, and you control the M1 Abrams, and you go across the desert, and you attack a couple of positions. Eventually, you end up in a town. It might be that this is a single player level that has a similar kind of vibe to that, where you're a tank commander. So I'm not sure if this is multiplayer. Don't think it is, but tanks look cool. Missile streaking into the sky. There's a big explosion here too. Perhaps there'll be some kind of call-ins in the multiplayer. You know how we had the V1s in BF5 that you could call in and make some giant explosions, artillery, that kind of thing. Perhaps that's back. Huge plumes of smoke here too. Good cover, explosions, who knows. The next news I think is arguably the most important thing, because I think that it signals a change in philosophy for the Battlefield franchise, a change in management, a change in how they're going forward with things, especially starting with this game. Yes, it's just words. Yes, these are for investors. Don't pre-order, all that stuff. But this next bit is important because it's regarding when you're going to be able to play the game, test it, feedback, community involvement, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty soon. Here's what Byron Beatty said. That's the guy on the screen now. And he is the group general manager for Battlefield.
Our teams live via a culture of rapid iteration to find great gameplay. That's Vince's hallmark. Prototyping, play testing, getting feedback, and repeating that loop over and over and over again. It's one of our most fundamental philosophies, and it's being incorporated through every area of Battlefield. We're obsessed with finding the fun. Now, I would love to show you what we've been working on with Battlefield. We have a philosophy on Battlefield to put our community first. But what you can be sure of is we're building a connected universe set in the modern day for players filled with Battlefield experiences, all of them built with our unique DNA. I also want to share with you that internally, we've been playing the game nearly daily for well over a year. In support of this playtesting, we've also prioritized what we call our Keep Green initiative. This means we're focused on software stability so that the game is always playable, always available for playtesting. That means for us, more iteration cycles. In addition to this internal testing cycles, we're already testing with players, and we plan to introduce a new large-scale community-driven testing program early next year. Now that's going to give us significantly more feedback on gameplay, performance, and fun factor.
So a couple things to unpack there. The biggest, obviously, early next year, January, February, that's what early next year is to me, they're going to be running large-scale, community-driven testing. This is really interesting to me because it sounds kind of like the CTE, which we had for BF4. And there's no doubt that the CTE, the community test environment, helped turn that game around. I seem to recall they did it a little bit with Hardline as well, maybe some BF1 too. However, they've not done anything like it since, and nothing on the same scale that the BF4 CTE was. And more importantly, they've never done it before releasing the base game. That seems like the difference here, and this seems super early in general, right? Typically, they announce the new game in May or June, there's a beta in September, and then it releases at the end of October or November. That's how most of the Battlefield releases have worked from my memory. So it's a pretty quick turnaround from reveal to release, just a few months. And most of the time, betas, let's be honest, they're just demos. Yeah, they get data from them, but nothing significant really ever changes, right, from beta to release if it's just a month or two. So this community testing going out there early next year, and there's not even a release date for the game yet. That says to me that they're pretty confident about the product that eventually they'll put on the shelves and sell. But it also shows that they're willing to be more transparent, take on some critical feedback, and make sure that by the time this game releases, if it is October, November next year, hopefully this community testing program has been running for several months. They've ironed out most of the bugs, fixed any game-breaking issues, sorted out any glaring balance concerns with the game. And in theory, because of that, the game will be good to go on launch. And hopefully it makes a strong first impression. I think they know now that they can't mess this up. This is one of the last chances that Battlefield is going to have. So I'm impressed that they've changed how they operate and they're actually doing this. I think that's cool. And it feels different to the last few releases at least. Will it be though? I don't know. As I always say, the proof is in the pudding. They've got to deliver. Aside from that, there was even more new information about the game. There are 4 studios working on it. We already knew that. But they did go into more detail about what exactly each of those studios is doing. So DICE, they're the creators of Battlefield, and they're going to be leading the charge on multiplayer. Criterion Games, they're going to be working on content and experiences for single player and multiplayer. They also said that Criterion Games are now a fully integrated studio for Battlefield. Motive, they've got a history in single player and storytelling, so I assume they're just going to be campaign. And then Ripple Effect, which used to be DICE LA, they're working on this new Battlefield experience fueled by the Battlefield DNA, they say, and apparently it's testing well with players. It's easy to assume that that's going to be a battle royale. And then there were some stats thrown into the mix as well if you're interested in these. Battlefield as a franchise has over 5 billion hours played now, 100 million players, and over the past 12 months, Battlefield experiences have been played for a total of 250 million hours. aside from that, at the end of this presentation, there was a Q&A. I watched the whole 3 hours. I did have a bit of time to burn last night. And there was one question about Battlefield, and Laura Miele answered that. To summarize, she said that she thought it was the right time for the potential in the Battlefield franchise right now. The interest and demand in the shooter market is very strong in how it's evolved and changed. People are looking for these massive scale battles instead, bigger maps with vehicles involved too. And she said that Battlefield meshes well with that. And if they continue to invest in the right places with the focus development of the game, they'll be able to maximize the potential of the brand. So there it is. That's everything that we learned from the EA Investors Day yesterday. I don't think they've done anything like this before. I don't know if it'll be every quarter or once a year, something like that. But yeah, surprisingly, more BF news. It seems like they've hit us hard this week with the announcement and now this. I'm not expecting to hear much more soon though, unless they keep it going. They could do, but I imagine the next time we hear about this will be some kind of teaser, trailer, gameplay, that kind of thing, and also when we're going to be able to play it early next year. So that's it. Let me know your thoughts below, guys. Thank you for watching. How you feeling about this one? Drop me a like if you enjoyed the video, a dislike if you didn't, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.